The morning Karen Blackwell decided to enforce her version of property compliance was the morning she turned my ranch into a $2.3 million water park, starring herself as the unwitting lead. Picture this: 6:47 a.m., Tuesday, sipping coffee as the Arizona sunrise paints the desert gold, when a sound like a freight train crashing into Niagara Falls shatters the peace. I step outside to find our HOA president, Karen, standing by her excavator, presiding over a 30-foot geyser of county water flooding my front yard. Her designer blazer, her weapon of intimidation, is now a muddy masterpiece, mascara streaking her face like a tragic watercolor. Diesel fumes, wet earth, and her panic mingle in the air. Karen thought she was digging a spite well to secure HOA water access, but she severed the main line feeding 17,000 residents, exposing her corruption in a spectacular crash. Ever met an HOA tyrant who overplayed their hand? This one's for you. My name's Alex Harper. And 6 months ago, I thought my biggest worry was whether to paint my barn red or keep it gray for Instagram tourists chasing authentic Arizona vibes. After 20 years debugging code disasters and solving impossible problems, I'd cashed out and returned to my grandfather's 47-acre paradise. The plan? Work remotely from my porch, let photogenic cows roam for charm, and savor silent sands Zoom calls. The air here tastes of sage and promise. Meadowlarks sing over sirens, and gravel crunches like nature's therapy. My 1,950 square foot farmhouse creaks perfectly. My barn, a 3-generation Harper survivor, stands proud. For 93 days, life was bliss. Then Karen Blackwell moved next door, deciding my paradise needed her micromanagement. Oak Ridge meadows sprouted along my eastern fence, McMansions with their own microclimates, and an HOA obsessed with mailbox fonts and beige shades. Karen didn't just claim the biggest house. She crowned herself empress, eyeing my land for her empire. Our first meeting was a system crash IRL. Her power suit sharp enough to slice glass, blonde hair pulled back like a torture device, and a leather portfolio that could stop bullets. President Blackwell, she declared, as if elected to rule my coffee ritual. Your fence is 6 inches over our boundary, she said, wielding papers like nuclear codes. And that truck violates commercial restrictions. My F-150, parked on my land, wasn't leaking radiation. With patience honed from explaining recursion to execs, I noted my fence stood since 1987. Her perfume clashed with morning dew. Like roses at a funeral, her smile could freeze hellfire. Boundaries aren't always clear, Mr. Harper. I'll be in touch. Thus began 3 months of bureaucratic terrorism. Complaints about my unauthorized barn, older than her subdivision by decades, claims my truck was abandoned while I drove it, even convincing the Postal Service my mailbox broke imaginary rules. Each attack meant hours on hold, visits to county offices reeking of desperation and bad coffee, proving I wasn't the outlaw, except to Karen's need to control every blade of grass. The county clerk greeted me like a bar regular. Alex Harper for Karen Blackwell duty? Her masterpiece hit 2 weeks ago, an HOA probe into water rights inconsistencies, using homeowners' funds to hire a surveyor to claim my land for her kingdom. She'd found a 1952 survey glitch. Minor, but enough to fuel lawsuits until I'd go bankrupt or give up. Her water rights ploy was evil genius cloaked in red tape. Force an easement, game over. Karen declared war on my retirement dream, but too bad for her. I'd spent decades solving trickier puzzles than a power-hungry HOA president. She didn't know the best. Debugging tactic is letting the system self-destruct, and diesel in desperation would soon cost her dearly. 2 days after her water rights bombshell, diesel engines woke me at 6:30 a.m. Stumbling to my porch, coffee in hand, I expected road work, but Karen was staging a hostile takeover of my yard, clipboard in hand, directing 2 confused surveyors toward my fence. Dressed for a boardroom, not Arizona dirt. "Morning, Mr. Harper," she chirped, fake as a used car salesman. "Just verifying HOA boundaries, no concern of yours." Diesel and her perfume made my head spin. Or maybe her audacity did. "That's my property, Karen." "President Blackwell," she corrected, clipboard poised like a war plan. Our research suggests your grandfather's deed has discrepancies. One surveyor was 20 feet past my fence. Another photographed my barn, house, and truck like evidence for a crime scene. Their cameras click, click, click my financial dooms countdown. You can't trespass without permission, I said, gripping my mug. Her diamond-cutting smile flashed. If this is HOA common space, we can. Don't interfere with our survey. 2 decades of debugging. Kicked in. Don't panic. Document. Find the root cause. I started recording, just logging this legitimate survey, President Blackwell. Her smile flickered. Unnecessary. Thoroughness matters. I shot back, mirroring her condescension. Last night's research paid off. Arizona law requires 72-hour written notice for disputed land surveys, and trespass laws apply. Karen's stunt was as legal as counterfeit cash. Gentlemen, I called, phone rolling. Show me your permits and the notice due 3 days ago. The lead surveyor blanked. What notice? She said it's approved. Karen's face matched my barn's faded red. Her desperation outstank her perfume. You're being obstructionist, she snapped. I'm being legal, I replied, as surveyors packed up, burned by her. Amateur move, metal cases snapping shut like Christmas gifts. This isn't over, she hissed, heels clicking like an angry woodpecker as she fled to her McMansion. I agreed, it wasn't. Karen had gifted me her law-breaking on video, assuming I'd fold like a retiree scared of paperwork, her first mistake. In debugging, one error signals more. Her desperation scent was just beginning. A week later, County Inspector Dave arrived, looking like he'd rather chase real criminals. Mr. Harper, about the violation, he said, clipboard limp as his enthusiasm. Under my truck's hood, spark plug deep, I faced another Karen attack. What violations? Dave squinted at papers like they were hieroglyphs. Unauthorized livestock, waste disposal, and commercial vehicle repair. Without permits. My truck was now a bomb, apparently. Karen had turned my maintenance into an eco-crime. Dave, this is my truck. I'm swapping spark plugs, not running a chop shop and livestock. See any cows? He scanned my cow-free land, noting something like complainant delusional. Protocol demands inspection, but he hinted. Arizona inspectors must probe complaints within 48 hours but can flag serial harassers, annoy enough, and the system shields victims. Let's do this right, I said. Document everything for the lawyers. Dave's relief showed. We toured my pristine property. His pen scratching like an angry cricket, nailing Karen's credibility shut. One more thing, I added, showing time-stamped footage of Karen trespassing, snapping truck photos like a spy. Dave's pen went machine gun mode. She was on your land without permission? His eyebrows hit orbit, unless she's got X-ray lenses. Her desperation reached county offices. Dave closed his clipboard. Like a gavel. Filing no violations with a harassment note. Consider a counter-complaint. On my porch, Meadowlark sang as I processed Karen's blunder. She'd escalated to false reports, torching her credibility. My phone buzzed. Your games won't last. Some problems need permanent fixes, concerned neighbor. I saved it to Karen's greatest hits. She was building her own prosecution case. Her third strike came via the Oak Ridge Meadows newsletter, pinned to my door like a ward decree. Environmental harm threatens our kids, screamed the headline, with photos making my barn look like a crime den. Karen painted me as a groundwater poisoning villain, ignoring my municipal sewer hookup, her call to action. A Thursday 7 p.m. meeting to air safety concerns. A lynch mob with bylaws. Then the county health department called. Sarah, environmental health, serious groundwater contamination allegations require an emergency inspection. Karen had gone. Nuclear, claiming I ran an unlicensed septic system, backed by fake soil samples and photos. I'm on municipal sewer, I said. They've got GPS coordinates and nitrate-heavy samples. I must investigate within 24 hours. Arizona's law assumes guilt in environmental claims, slapping liens before proof. Document everything. Complaint, samples, source. This is harassment, I said. Sarah paused. Harassment. Fourth false claim in 2 weeks, with trespassing and evidence tampering. Typing erupted. Email your proof. False reports are serious crimes. In my kitchen, rage and fear tasted like copper. Karen aimed to ruin me, but she'd misjudged a programmer's knack for unraveling technical lies, especially with cameras catching her dirty work. That night, I dug into Oak Ridge Meadows records like a coder facing a system failure. Pizza and laptop heat fueled my 2 a.m. detective noir. Karen wasn't just an HOA bully. She ran a real estate scam. Her husband, David Blackwell, owned Elite Land Surveying, which found discrepancies on 17 bordering properties, resolved by Karen's pal Susan Keller's law firm. Victims, mostly retirees, sold cheap or lost land to the HOA, which flipped it to Michael Langford's Summit Development. This $2.8 million fraud, plus my $800,000 acres, violated Arizona's felony laws for public officials, profiting undisclosed, carrying 2 to 20 years. Karen's fatal error. Her soil samples, GPS, and timestamps match my footage of her trespassing with a shovel, a digital confession. I labeled a folder, Karen Nuclear Option, and built a case to crush her scam. Thursday's meeting loomed. I called Sarah with the tampering footage. Her gasp was gold. This goes to our criminal unit. Then Agent Lisa Rodriguez, FBI, organized fraud? I've got enough to wallpaper the courthouse. Tom Harrison, Phoenix Gazette reporter, salivated. $3 million in video. I'm in. Marcus Webb, my accountant friend, tackled the HOA books pro bono. By Wednesday, my dining room was a crime thriller set. Evidence boards, red string, and a prosecutor's dream. Karen's legal threat, taped to my door, demanded I stop harassment and face $500,000 in damages, claiming my cameras were illegal. Her final gambit. Sheriff Deputy Martinez arrived, citing threats and weapons. Karen claimed lost recordings. I showed him my footage. False reporting noted. He said. Her desperation reeked. Thursday's Oak Ridge Clubhouse was a courtroom drama. Karen's PowerPoint, the Harper crisis, flaunted fake samples and lies. She called Michael as her expert, confessing conspiracy on FBI wires. I stood. Point of order. My slides exposed her $2.8 million fraud. Gasps echoed as I played her tampering video. Agent Rodriguez cuffed her and Michael mid-meeting. FBI, you're under arrest for fraud and tampering. Karen's last words. You don't know what you've done. I knew exactly. I debugged her corrupt code. 6 months later, on my porch, coffee tastes like vindication. Karen got 18 months, $2.8 million in restitution. Michael got 2 years. Susan lost her license. The HOA's new bylaws ensure transparency. Tom's expose sparked Arizona legislation. The 17 victim families reclaimed their land. Mrs. Patterson's settlement funded a real neighborhood watch. The Oak Ridge Fund, from fraud money, sent 12 kids to college, including one aiming to be an environmental lawyer. Karen's irony. Our water system serves all, proving cooperation beats theft. Thursday meetings now plan block parties. Not conspiracies. Laughter replaced Karen's heel clicks. Justice tastes sweeter shared. But here's the rub. Can justice truly fix a system where HOAs wield such power? Are we one bad neighbor from chaos, or can we rewrite the rules for good? Share your HOA nightmares below. Some make Karen look tame. If this fired you up to fight corruption, hit subscribe and tell a friend. Was Karen's fall pure justice, or does it expose a broken system? Debate it in the comments. Let's hear your take on neighborhood battles.